Hi guys, welcome to this new podcast, episode 2 with myself and Ryan. Tonight we're going to take a look at Chapter Approved 2019.
Oh, the lack of it.
Now spoilers ahead, I've not actually read the book yet, so Ryan has read what little there is in it, in his opinion, any use, and we're just going to bounce back and talk around what the book has in store for us for this year ahead, and any changes to the game that they've made. So, go for it, Ryan.
What have we got? We got open play, narrative missions, things that I'm not particularly interested in or want. We've got a reprint of all the stats for all the terrain pieces that you can have, like a defense line, a bastion, stuff that we already had, fortifications. A reprint of information on, buffs for terrain and the different types of terrain. That, again, was in nearly every book, including the first ever, rule book that they had when they first started 8th edition. That was in there. It's literally a repeat of that. I mean, we've got some nice stuff about some Chaos units. I think all the new Slaanesh units, of which I don't have or will ever buy. New and updated data sheets for them. Yay!
So far, you're not selling this book to me?
Well, I've got The Keeper of Secrets and other lovely bits that... why? Yeah, I don't know.
No use.
If you buy the model, you're going to get those rules anyway. If you buy the Slaanesh book, you're going to get these rules anyway.
Yeah.
Horrors, more chaos, rubbish. I think the entire new data sheets are all chaos.
So what we've learned so far, guys, is that if you're a chaos player, this book may have some use. If you play pretty much every army that we've got, so Imperium, Orcs, Imperial Guard, Death Guard, it's not worth buying.
They've got some new missions, obviously, for match play. Obviously, the new Maelstrom of War and Eternal War. By new, I mean they've changed the names of them, but are essentially the same thing.
Ah, well. And how much was this book again?
I think I got it discounted by about £19 something.
Dear me.
And then I paid postage, so about £22.
So if you want to feel like Ryan feels now, just take a £20 note, rip it up, douse it in honey or something, and chuck it to a dog to eat. Because, well, actually, don't do that, because feeding paper to your dog isn't a good thing to do, but effectively, you might as well throw your 20 quid down the drain.
What they do for you is bolster it by re-releasing updated, possibly out of date by now, because usually when they release these things, there's mistakes in them anyway, points for all the different armies in one book. I mean, it's not like a battle scribe where you can get all this information from, but...
Now, that's probably the most interesting part of this. Now, did that separate book actually come with
it?
So yes, it was like a 2-for-1. Right.
But it's not a 2-for-1 because, I mean, these together create one book of the thickness of the previous chapter approved.
Aha. So we could have just printed it in one book then, really.
Yes, and I think the last chapter approved was hardback.
No, it was softcover, but you're right, it was chunkier. I've got a copy of it lying around somewhere.
Well, the first rule book was hardback, I think.
Oh, we're testing my memory now, and we know that's not a strong point.
I mean,
yeah, big difference, isn't there?
This is not... If I put it up to the camera, that is essentially the previous chapter approved.
Yeah.
And bearing in mind that you've got a waste page, which is the outer casing.
Now, you made a really valid point. So if you're the average Joe player, you can just go on Battlescribe, and all the new points will be there.
You can make your list.
You can see all the rules straight away. Yeah.
This has nothing on. This is just base points, and usually is outdated when they release an FAQ, which makes this pointless.
Yeah, yeah. And to be fair, at the rate they release FAQs, that's pretty something in it. So I think the Imperial Fist book dropped. Was it 2-3 months ago?
Yeah.
Immediately, a week and a half, 2 weeks later, we had an FAQ drop, like clearing up. You think bloody hell.
I mean, they do have the Forge World point values in here, but so
That's
does the
interesting.
Forge World book about the point values that also has an FAQ
Yeah.
and is a digital file. But they never update the digital file, even though you can easily do that.
Yeah.
Like,
So from what I've heard, now again, I've not read this like you. It seems to be
what's
that
to
there's
read?
well, if I want to sit there and look at numbers all night, which I really don't, but apparently the sweeping sort of points reductions for a lot of the armies have been made cheaper.
But again, that's on Battlescribe, so you don't need this book
No.
whatsoever.
Thank you, Games Workshop. We'll see your lawyers in court when you sue us for slander. But it's not slander if it's true.
It's just so sad. I mean, I opened it up thinking, oh, there might be some new rules or some like links to the psychic nonsense that is currently underway. And I presume that book has more information and actual rule updates than this does, because they even tease that Grey Knights are getting some bits and everybody's getting some bits. Like the Dark Angels have just got the new Primaris model, and that's all coming in that book. This, on the other hand, is a copy and paste with some bits in that, again, is copy and paste for the name change.
Yeah, and that's really disappointing. I mean, let's be honest, the rate that GW are bringing out books and supplement books and FAQ changes, it kind of makes it very hard for the average player. And we're not talking tournament players here, because, I mean, you guys, if any of you do watch this channel, which I kind of highly doubt, but you guys have to know every little bit of information to keep yourselves relevant within the meta. Whereas for people like us that enjoy playing the game, but we're not interested particularly in being the most super competitive that we can be, the amount of stuff that we've got to keep up to date with is quite staggering, really. I don't know how you feel about that, Ryan, but...
I mean, I just tend to get most of my information from Battlescribe, and then all the updates that usually come from all the leaks.
Yeah, of which there's a lot.
It's just, I don't understand the point of this. It just really just feels like a cash grab.
I mean, we call it leaks, but we've had many conversations before that actually they're not leaks. It's Games Workshop who are... what's the term? Testing the waters.
Yeah.
So basically, they're trying to garner feedback from the community before they solidify something. So we'll leak this piece of information, and we'll see how many people say you shitheads, you this, you that, the other, and then we might look at changing it again.
You know if they're right or not, because usually if it's positive feedback, then what happens is a week later it's public.
Yeah.
If not, then the leak magically disappears. It never happens.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's kind of a bit of obviousness about the tactics that they use. Don't get me wrong. Most major companies do very similar. They'll trial something first. But there'd be no harm in releasing effectively what would be beta rules, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
To the community, allow a little bit of playtest, and then actually people that are sort of very proficient in the game, sort of tactically and everything else, can playtest the shit out of this, and then go, actually, that unbalances this army by this degree or that degree, or there's a problem with the interaction with this rule and that rule, and then Games Workshop can look at it to sort of amend it. Whereas at the minute they kind of just seem to be going off, we hate you, we love you.
I mean, I can sum this book up by just reading the contents, which includes an introduction.
Yeah.
Open war cards. Again, never use them. Like, who plays open war? No one.
No.
Because you can't balance it.
No.
Open war army generator. Great. Spearhead. Again, this is to do with open play and commanding tanks. Again, useless for me. Linked games. This is how to basically make a campaign with 40k game, a kill team game, an apocalypse game. I mean, it doesn't really make any sense because your kill team army is not exactly going to be in your APOC.
No. And let's be honest, kill team is a separate entity, as is the apocalypse rule set. So realistically, why is it appearing in chapter approved?
I mean, I can just see myself. Oh, let's go together, have a campaign. I'll just bring my apocalypse army with me as well as my kill team and a 40,000 army. I mean, yeah, you might want to just like add some additional units to your APOC army and just keep one army throughout. But your kill team is just going to be 5 guys up to 10 guys if you guard.
Yeah.
And then you bear in mind you then have to bring all this stuff with you to wherever you go into play. And then have a board big enough to play all this. Bearing in mind a kill team board is a lot smaller than an apocalypse board.
Yeah. You've got one end of the scale, haven't you? Like, little, and then you've got, it takes up half your house sort of thing.
And I don't know about campaigns, but an APOC game is going to last you quite a while. Even with the new rules, it's still not exactly good.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like say goodbye to your day. And then possibly 2 days, depending on the size of it.
I know they've sped it up with the new rules, but even then, it's not exactly the quickest. New Battlefronts, which is not actually new Battlefronts, it's just a nice name for here's the existing rules we released in the previous book and publicly in FAQ about positions. The 2CP. Here's cover for everyone.
Oh, prepared positions, yeah. At the start of the game.
This section provides a range of match play rules designed to level the playing field between opposing armies. That's the one stratagem they released, which costs 2 CP, gets a whole section for itself, and is basically just the introduction of how to play a match game.
Wow.
Then, challenge missions. Challenge missions put one player at a disadvantage. I mean, you could make that up yourself. I'm going to play 1,500 points. You're going to play 2,000 points.
Exactly. And if anybody's ever gone up against, say, Ryan's laser
Wall of
destroyer wall of death, you already feel like you're at a disadvantage before you get going.
I mean, that's a lot of nonsense. One player is always at a disadvantage depending on what they're bringing.
Yeah, absolutely. Unless there's 2 players playing the exact same army, the exact same points, exact same units, there's always going to be a player that goes in with a disadvantage, whether it's terrain that's disadvantaging them, whether it's first turn, who gets that. There's always going to be a swing of balance in the game. And then of course, fucking hell, it's a dice game, isn't it?
Yeah.
You could be rolling 6s for every little shot that you do, and I'm rolling 1s constantly. The dice, the wildcards, so you're never going to have a true balance. It's impossible.
Then we have Eternal War, then Schemes of War, which is ways to use their tactical objective cards, and contains a series of new Maelstrom of War missions, which are new. I mean, I can read one of the Maelstrom War missions, and it probably sounds very similar to one that's already existing. Let's go down into this. I mean, I know the Eternal War ones are, because nearly all of them are place objectives. There you go.
Yeah, and then you've got, obviously, the typical
First
purge the alien and all that jazz. And
so, here we go. So, covert maneuvers. The players roll off as usual. Winner decides who the attacker and defender is, i.e. they say I'm going to attack because who goes second.
Yep.
Select the deployment zones. Obviously, the defender gets that. And then the attacker uses the other one. I.e. if you're a gun line, you go, I want to play long ways. Unless your gun line's a shit gun line and doesn't have the range, then you'll go short ways.
Yeah.
Then we go to first turn. Wow. If they decide the first turn, yeah, we already know this. You mentioned this already. Who gets first turn? The defender rolls a d6, and a 6 they seeds. Again, that's nothing new.
Standard.
You use the Schemes of War rules found on page 1771.
Which is effectively prepared positions, yeah?
Yeah, well, we've got tactical foresight. Look at the top 3 cards of your rejected deck. I think this has already came out in the last one. And you can replace them. You basically swap your cards around.
There's nothing sort of good, is there?
I mean, I don't think the tactical cards have changed. I think there's some new cards coming out with the psychic release. But...
Well, that's something, I guess. If you play a psychic army, that is.
Yeah, use this stratagem at the start of your turn. Discard up to 2 tactical objective cards from your hand and draw a new one. Yeah, this is not new stuff. Victory conditions. Actually, recovered maneuvers. Start of each battle round. After the first, if there's a player with fewer victory points than their opponent, then for the rest of the battle, all tactical objectives that player puts into play can be faced face down and all face up. Tactical objectives that player has in play can be turned face down. This is the this is confusing. At the start of each battle round, after the first, if there is a player with fewer victory points than their opponent, then for the rest of the battle round, all tactical objectives that player puts into play can be placed face down, and all face-up tactical objectives that player has in play can be turned face down. For the rest of that battle round, all objectives that their opponent puts into play must be placed face up, and all face-down tactical objectives their opponent has in play must be turned face up. Wow.
Well,
put your cards up is
that's stunning. So I can see the tactical objective cards you've got. Then I'm turning things. It's just a clusterfuck.
And then obviously, bearing in mind before you do all this, there's the battlefield, which is create the battlefield and set up terrain. Players play 6 objective matters as detailed on page 70. This is you place 1, I place 1, you place 1, I place 1. They're all numbered.
Yeah.
And obviously 12 inches apart. I mean, that's basic stuff that's been in since they first did it. It's the same in Eternal War when you're placing objectives.
Yep, absolutely.
And then you've got
battle length. No more than 12. They've got to be like 12 inches in from the edge of the table, 12 inches apart.
Yeah.
All that, yeah.
Slay the wall and first strike line breaker, additional points to be gained.
So,
and the battle length is normal.
Games Workshop, you've really just fallen asleep then, haven't you? You've taken old things, stuck new names to it, but effectively given us the same stuff.
And then, like, Ambitious Surge on the next page, if the player has any tactical objective cards in play, the opponent must select one of those tactical objectives. If that tactical objective is achieved in that turn or the subsequent turn, it's worth 1 additional victory point. Basically, you draw cards, you have to achieve the card objective.
Yep.
If you don't get a point. If you do, you get a point.
That sounds very familiar.
All these different missions, well, you could call them missions, but I mean, all of them involve you draw cards, you achieve cards. You draw cards, you achieve cards. You have to show your cards and achieve cards.
Yeah. Nothing exciting one little bit, is there?
I mean, yeah, you can face your cards up, and then the other player knows what you have to try and achieve. But then again, if you've got a death laser line, what are they going to do? Especially if you've got snipers that can shoot characters. Regardless, I'm going to hide my character. I can shoot through walls.
Yeah.
Boom. And all the new rounds on these snipers can shoot characters. So I'm going to hide my character now. Okay.
Yeah. Forget that, guys, because these little guys that got brought into the game just,
defeat that point.
Goodbye, characters.
And with yours, no benefit to colour.
That is very true. Just to clarify, if you're new to the channel, I've got an Imperial Fists army, so cover's a word that we just don't use.
Anyone who faces the fists and bothers to play the 2 CP is going to be sadly disappointed.
I tell you what, you'd have to be a bit of a knob, wouldn't you, to not pre-warn your opponent. Actually, spending those would be a waste of time. But I could see that happening. Like,
why would you? Like, it's not your job.
2 CP. Now I've got +1 to my cover save. You did. Yeah.
I think you'll find, actually, that in the rules section of my book, I ignore cover.
But thanks for spending 2 of your very valuable CP.
What else we got? Start of each player turn. Before putting any tactical objectives in play, the player reveals the top 3 cards of objective deck, again revealing cards. With the same 6 objectives on the table.
I'll be honest with you. Anybody that's played this game 2 or 3 times knows what people are playing for objective-wise. If all of a sudden you're sat on objective 4, and let's say, for instance, Ryan starts moving all of his left flank towards objective 4, I'm kind of thinking he's got
He wants
objective 4. Or if he's trying to take out one of my big units, like firing everything at it, he's got big game hunter. It's really not difficult to work out what your opponent's got and what they're going for.
It's just daft.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a missed opportunity. Like, you have 1 to 6 objectives. Wow. Nothing new. Let's not make a new format or anything. Let's just keep the 1 to 6 objectives. And then, here's your cards. Sometimes you show your cards, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're forced to have this many cards, sometimes you're not. Yay.
Yeah, nothing new. Nothing new whatsoever. I mean, we don't typically play Maelstrom of War, do we?
Well, it adds extra RNG on top of Dice Game, which you don't really need.
Yeah. We tend to play Eternal War, which actually
tend to have more interesting missions, such as like capturing the objective.
Yeah, you've got to play to the mission, haven't you? I mean, since obviously they got rid of tabling, I mean, you can still table your opponent, but now the game continues. So if you build up a healthy 20-point lead or something, and Ryan tables in turn 5, it really doesn't matter because he's not going to get back 20 points in a turn. But that's just an example. But yeah, I'm kind of feeling underinflated. I'm kind of feeling sorry for you that you've spent 20 quid on this.
Well, it just goes to the collection that I then give to you and adds to your book collection of shitty GW books.
Yeah. So we've got a growing stack over at my house where we keep all of the terrain, all of the books and stuff, and it's like growing steadily with books that we just like look at once, maybe play with twice, and then just like go into the pile.
I'll be honest. The best way I can insult this book is saying that painting book I brought you, the old GW, is more useful than this.
Oh my god. So, just if you've stuck with us this long, I'll give you a bit of story. Obviously, you know me and Ryan work in retail, and the last few months have literally been work. I mean, I've been pulling massive hours and this, that, the other. Now we're into January, February, or we're almost into January, February. Work goes really, like, dead. So, lots of opportunity to come home, won't be as tired. I must put out this video that we've been on about since the dawn of time about shit-painted miniatures. It's a little game that we play sometimes on an evening, and we'll sit there trawling through eBay and trying to find somebody that said, you know, my miniature is the best painted miniature, professional painted, and it looks basically like somebody's put like fucking spray painted a clown's face, or you know, the eyes are like this big and. But effectively, this book that Ryan brought around was How to Paint Citadel Miniatures. It's a really old book, isn't it? It's one of the sort of first ones they published. And by God, the paint jobs in it are shocking.
I mean, I just googled now on eBay for painted Imperial Guard. So for £100, you can buy 3 Sentinels.
Now, Sentinels on their own are what, 20 quid?
Nope, £15.
Sorry. So 45 quid. So
from Alchemist Games, you can get it's about £15 per piece.
So you're getting, 55 quid is the paint job, and how well are these painted?
They're essentially one colour with some leaves on.
Well,
I'll just send you a link.
What you do is you get your little spray ball, and you spray it the colour that you've chosen, and then you take
They're two colours, really, and then there's some brown and then
A
some
little
leaf colour.
paint pot, and then you just stick a colour on. Immediately, you've made 55 quid, apparently.
I could buy 18 Sentinels for £277.40 or something from Alchemist. Or I could buy 3 for 100.
Yeah, it's no debate at all. I know not everybody has the time to paint their own miniatures, and by God, I'm the worst advocate for this because
But don't pay ridiculous prices for shit.
I'm terrible at keeping to a painting schedule. But yeah, it's so much cheaper to just do it yourself. Have a test model, do a paint scheme, see what you like, what you don't like, and then you can. I mean, Sentinels, they're not the hardest thing in the world to paint, are they?
No, they're really.
You can do a really good. Oh, here we go. So don't get me wrong.
They're okay.
As a standard, they're all right.
Do you know, they're tabletop standard, i.e., 2 colours.
Yeah. Well,
but they're not £100.
Technically, tabletop standard is 3 colours. But
well, yeah, but 3 colours you can get away with because you basically 2 colours and wash.
You know, they're based, and from what I can see of the picture, the basing job isn't that bad. But effectively, they are nothing that you can't do with an army painter base spray and a couple of sort of decals added on top. There's nothing special about them. Not to knock that painter's sort of paint job. You know, if I bought them, I'd field them. They wouldn't offend me, but I wouldn't pay 55 quid for the paint job, is the point.
But the problem is, if you're buying miniatures off eBay, usually if they're painted, you're buying, say, a scheme which is consistent. So if you're buying Ultramarines have a set paint style. So you're not having to buy this one and change it, buy this one and then change it. Those Sentinels, you just got to hope somehow, for some reason, someone else has painted them similar. Because they're useless otherwise. Otherwise, you just come with, here's my Technicolor Dreamcoat army.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at my Imperial Fist. So I've done the paint scheme myself. But I did buy a squad of tactical Space Marines that were similar colour. But then I've had to go through them and try and colour match them to my army, which is a lot more difficult than you'd think, because obviously you put a lot of different steps into the highlighting and stuff. So to convert somebody else's paint job to your paint scheme is bloody time consuming. What the chuff? How much? How much?
It's not that bad, actually. £20 for it. Well, it's a bid one. It's £20 first bid. I mean, it's probably going to be like £100 for somebody who buys this.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can immediately tell you, because I'm actually getting all right at this painting malarkey after some lessons off Ryan. Those colours haven't been thinned down.
This is an old edition Razorback, though, so you're paying for a bit of retro history.
That red on there is literally slapped on from the pot.
Or I could order this from Australia.
I like the blue colour. I think he's gone a bit mad with, like, it looks like he's almost taken some, like, a shanty bone and not dry brushed it necessarily, but like
oh god.
Well,
this is the same. I think this is let's go on his page. Joe Hammer Games for all the quality stuff. He's got 292 items for sale. Clearly, his wife told him to sell this shit.
I tell you what, hobos in the street would tell him to sell some of that stuff. How thick has he put that bloody base coat on?
On this, I think he's literally dipped it.
Oh, that is so... Don't get me wrong, some of my early models were like this, until Ryan taught me actually how thinning of paints is a good thing and taking your time building up layers. I used to be a bit of one of these guys, so I can hold my hands up. When I'm taking the piss, I used to be that guy.
This is my painting when I was 5, without any education on how to paint.
But that is just disgusting.
You can't fix that unless you strip it. And then if you strip it, you might find something worse underneath.
I mean, it's actually covering up some of the detail because the paint is that thick on it.
Nope.
Nope.
These are a strip job.
That's the case of I'd give him a tenner just for the models, but I'd really want them undercoated, like just a base coat. How much did he want for them?
Well, it's whatever, $20 US. Then obviously that was a bit of a bid, so it could be anything really.
$20 US. We're in the UK.
That Razorback's £15.23, but then you're paying £14 postage, which from Australia. Then you'll pay import charges probably.
Yeah, I mean, we generally speaking won't buy from outside of the UK unless. To be fair, I have bought models from Italy, but only when the postage was like £4, which generally speaking we pay anywhere between sort of £2.50 to £5 in the UK to get models to us. Usually the Troll Trader I get mine from, I think his shipping something like £2.99.
For some reason.
And he's like right up in Scotland.
UK only. There's nothing on UK only apparently for 40k. And if I click European Union, nothing.
Are you on eBay.com though, or .co.uk?
No, maybe eBay UK. I never do thingy. Let me have a try. I want.
There we go. Let's bring that up to full screen.
UK only. Here we go. It's working now. Some of this looks okay. Then again, I'm not zooming in. But just what you always wanted.
Actually, joking aside, not a bad paint job. I do like his helmet visor.
Old Rogue Trader.
Yeah.
Some of this stuff's okay. I'm not clicking on anything that's cheap-ish. Because... Okay, yes. This is how...
You see, back when I was talking about, people doing eyes like goggly, that eye there is like taking up half of his face. I mean, for God's sake, if you're going to freehand arrows, use some masking tape, guys. You pick up a roll of it for like 3 rolls for £1.
It's straight lines only. I mean,
even a ruler and just marking it lightly with a pencil would have got you better results than that.
I'm going to add a mud effect. Let's just put brown paint on it.
I don't think that's a mud effect. I think his dog's done a turd in the yard and he's literally wiped the front in it. That is horrific.
Now, it's £6.75, 0 bids. And I think it's going to say £6.75, 0 bids for the rest of eternity.
I wonder why.
Warhammer 40k Space Marine tank painted. Condition is used. I can clearly tell that. Did I just see?
Condition is please start again.
Oh my god. No. £50? No. Oh my god.
Hang on.
oh god. This is £50 base. I don't even think there's any bids on.
That looks to me like somebody's bloody what do they call it? Bejazzled.
It's the texture which I'm more worried about.
Oh, that is horrific.
Now, I hate to break it to this guy, but let's just go to Alchemist Workshop. It's an executioner.
Quick apologies, guys, for the picture quality. It's dipping in and out. That's because obviously we're cross-feeding off Discord. But actually, when Ryan's been zooming in, you've been able to see what we're on about anyway. So there's no issue there.
£46.20 for a Repulsor Executioner, or for the mere price of £50, you can have this nightmare.
Fucking bejazzled vagina of a tank. That's horrific.
It's gonna need some work, and it's probably knackered.
Look at the white. Look at the white.
Oh no, it's £55 because that's with a postage on top of that, $4.99.
Don't be the guy that buys that. Just as an heads up. Look at the white on the front. It's patchy and blotchy as hell.
It's a ghost tank. Oh, here we go.
Well, where do we start? I would say, condition-wise, the tank in the middle gets it because it's had the least abominations done to it. The one on the left looks like somebody has attempted to paint yellow but can't. Don't get me wrong, and again, I'm not trying to sound like dicks. Yellow is a very hard colour to paint, but that is just shocking. It's thick, it's clumpy. I mean, you can see around the sort of where the tracks are that it's got on really thick, and yet it's managed not to cover.
If you don't own an airbrush and you have to paint vehicles, always base coat using a spray.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your main colour with a spray. You are not going to get anywhere very well trying to paint flat surfaces with a brush, because what you're going to end up with is nice brush effect wall canvas.
I don't know how well this is going to pick this up because of the lights, but that's progress going on a Vindicator. Now, if you look at the paint, you see that? Smooth, not taking out any detail. Every bit of detail is showing. That is the kind of sort of base that you want, and that you can only get that through a spray.
You can have this.
But yeah. Right, hang on, let me flick it back to you. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, if I can get a side-by-side comparison. Here we go. That is sprayed with a base spray. That looks like somebody has vomited on it.
What I don't understand is the guy has clearly based it with a black spray, then gone, I want to paint it yellow. Now, I hate to break it to this guy. If you're going to paint anything yellow, do not base in black. Base in white, at least, or base in the yellow that you want.
So that gets based in black and then blasted with a yellow or white. Yeah, it depends on what sort of colour. If I want a darker shade, you're right, you go for a white or a grey. But that's still got loads more work to be done on it. That's literally, I'm fiddling on that in between doing frigging Terminators and other stuff. Just bits and pieces now and then while I've got a paint pot open. But
Oh, it's not even fully painted. The other side's black.
which one would you want to buy? I mean, I'm not being big-headed here, but it's this you could take and put your own stamp on it and do loads more with. You know, that as just as a random base. I mean, you can see the bottom. Smooth as hell.
What's more worrisome, there's blue inside under the black.
Yeah. You know, if you're going to get something painted, have something that's not had a massive stamp on it. And that's just, you know. Well, I think what we'll have to do, Ryan, is actually do a podcast where we do best painted and worst painted, because we could be here all night doing this.
I mean, this Land Raider is...
That's stunning.
The drop pod, on the other hand, that's salvageable.
Agreed, yeah. That's looks like it's got a thin enough base layer on it that you could...
Without having to strip it. I mean, the
that.
Land Raider would have to be stripped. No doubts about it.
Clumpy. Awful. Paint within the lines. No. Yeah,
I mean,
that's terrible.
Also the drop pod has no interior. Obviously that was too hard.
Well, all my drop pods had interiors, but God, it was a pain in the ass assembling them. But yeah, if you're gonna do drop pods, put your interiors in. It just looks so much cleaner.
Unless with the new rules where it's like you have to decide where it's going to be stay closed or stay open. With this one, stay closed and glue them shut.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
With this, your Space Marines that land in this drop pod would be dead on arrival.
They're basically, as it's entering the upper atmosphere, they're falling out. They've gone. No amount of Space Marine armour or Iron Halos are going to save you from a drop from 10,000 feet or whatever it might be.
If they're lucky and they haven't fallen out, they're then just going to be a blood mess inside when they open it up.
You know, oddly, the only bit that I actually like on that model is just around where the doors would close. It looks like scorching. And I don't think that's been done intentionally.
No, it's not. It's just black underspray.
I think that's just black underspray that he's not painted very well. But, you know, always try and look for a positive in that. But yeah, alright, there's no positive to be seen there, is there?
I presume this was meant to be Dark Angels.
I can't see. Oh, you can. Good lord! If you flick back to that shot 2 shots ago, you can see every brushstroke.
Oh yeah, with this, yeah.
That shot right there, round the doorway. Oh dear lord! My daughter, who has only just started to learn to paint, has done better jobs than that. So, bearing in mind that we're just trying to build up layers and bits and pieces and different colour tones and stuff.
Oh god.
It's just, yeah.
I have nothing against this, but this is not worth £40. The paint job's okay, but it's literally an airbrush job that's been done slightly badly.
You see, I don't think that's bad. The yellow.
No, it's just not.
I think the red's bad.
£40.
I know, yeah, again, nothing that you couldn't do with an airbrush, like, within an hour.
Does
it
it
just
have an
by
interior?
building layers? Oh, it does.
It's not Vicious painted silver, but that's better than the last one.
Yeah, agreed. But the red on that's been done very poorly.
I think there was some mould lines. If I went, yeah,
Yeah, there is on the top. I mean, fucking hell, that's one of the easiest surfaces to clean as well. But actually, build up of the yellows and stuff, I've seen worse. But again, I wouldn't buy 40 quid for it. Just buy a drop pod, spray it yourself. 20 quid, yeah. So somebody out there might look at that and go, well, I just can't be bothered, and actually £20 extra is worth it to save myself the time. But what I'm telling you, for something like that, you are not having to spend very long in painting that.
realistically, you could achieve this even if you don't have an airbrush with some essentially a base coat of the colour you want it to be.
Yep.
You can paint the interior with metallic because it won't show up the brushstrokes as much. Just water it down slightly and take your time. Then just get something to filter the spray. Get a darker brown spray, darker black spray to then spray through that filter, and you will get that kind of like not fully coated, scorched effect. Then, yeah, you might have trouble doing the red with a brush, but actually you won't, because you'll thin your paint down and just do it by hand. I mean, if you actually thin your coats, you don't really see brush strokes too much, if all.
No, not at all.
Yeah, that's
disappointing. Right, I think we'll end the video for there tonight, guys. Hopefully, like I say, we've got a lot of free time, especially over the next few months. Completely get that we have been slacking in the video sort of categories. Really do apologise for that. For all, we started this podcast and thought actually that's a good way of getting a video out there every week. Time factors, illness, all that sort of life effectively has got in the way. And we've said it before, we'll try and be better. I guess the proof is in the pudding, and us actually sort of sticking to what we say. However, hopefully in the coming weeks we'll get some battle reports filmed. Christmas, we got the tree packed away here today, and the table is now up. I don't know if I twist that.
It still needs painting work. We have painting work to do for the terrain.
But, you know, the table's up again. Painting-wise, done a lot more with the fists. I I actually got the collection down because I've got an office upstairs which is filled wall to wall with models, and actually set the army out on a side table and thought, actually, I've got enough to rock and roll here. We're pretty good. I've still got loads more units to paint, but I'm pretty much there to be able to field them. Ryan, you've got tons, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got stuff that's already painted, stuff that needs updating to match the existing, because some of the bases are a different style to the new sand. I'm going full on Martian rock bases.
Yeah.
So that only is updated and matching. I've got 3 land speeders that need fully finishing. So one of them's assembled, 2 need assembly. Then they'll need painting. I've got a Leviathan Dreadnought that needs painting. And it's basically assembled other than the joints. It just needs putting together properly.
Yeah.
I think I'm just going to basically glue the weapons in place. Or I could magnetize them, but I don't imagine me changing the weapons on them. So I think I might just glue it down.
Yeah.
And put it into a set pose and do a bit of work on it. Other than that, what have I got else? More squads of intercessors to paint and assemble.
Nothing wrong with that.
Mostly with, I think, Stalker Bolters. And then one squad with auto. Not auto bolters, normal bolters. Bolters with a bit of AP, but not like the Stalkers.
Mm-hmm.
And then what else have I got? There's probably stuff that I've completely forgot. Oh, another Storm Talon gunship. I think it's Storm Talon.
Yeah. No, very good.
Yeah, not Storm Raven, that's the transport. So I've got 2 of those. They're both kind of painted. I've got a new Redemptor Dreadnought that isn't just a showpiece for terrain.
Yeah, and I actually got my Redemptor painted as well, which was quite good. Like I say, I think progress-wise, I've not done bad because you can literally knock out armies.
I can
when you sit and you're in the mood. Yeah. Takes me a lot longer, but I think before Christmas I got 3 squads of intercessors painted.
Well, I did my Germans for bolt action in no time at all.
Yeah. Whereas mine are still like base coated in boots and weapons done. Still much, quite a bit more work to do on them. But all in all, you should be seeing some more videos, which will be really good. Thank you to new people that have subscribed. We've noticed that during our inactivity, we've actually had...
They like us being away.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe you're subscribing just to keep us from making content. Who knows? But yeah, thanks very much, guys. Really do appreciate it. We will try and be better. Whether it be better terrain, better painting, better tutorials, better videos, actually sticking to our weekly podcast, which would be quite interesting. Because really, it's no problem for us to sit down and talk with friends, and we're just chewing the fat, aren't we? Which we do most of the time anyway. So actually recording us doing it is no real big issue. But just like to say, hope you've had a lovely Christmas, guys. This will be going out sort of Boxing Day, 27th, dependent on editing. So Merry Christmas. Hope you've had a good one. All the best for an happy New Year. May all your plastic crack needs be met in 2020. May Games Workshop lower their prices.
Nope.
Improve their books.
Nope.
But yeah, thanks very much for sticking with us, guys. And if you've watched to the end of this video...
I feel sorry for you.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've seen examples of what not to buy on eBay, which will actually, I think, be a podcast in the future, because actually we really enjoy doing that. So yeah, all the best, guys. Thanks for watching, and happy gaming.